the creator of knowledge. On behalf of IQAC, Sri Shankara College Kaladi, UGC STRI, MHRD, NG University, and all the participants, I extend a most cordial welcome to the respected Rosama ma'am. Thank you.
See the slides? Good afternoon. Am I audible for you?
Yes, ma'am, you are.
Can you see the slides?
No, ma'am.
Is it visible now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Sorry for the technical errors occurred during the forenoon session. So we have been discussing the last slide. So this was the last slide for the first session. So don't worry about the problem that occurred. We were discussing the level of understanding that have occurred from different aspects of the content that we have been sharing. And though it seems very simple poems, while we try to understand it, we have shared that it has different interpretations. And we try to link it with different elements of our thought process. We try to give examples, we try to interpret it, we gave certain inferences, and we all able to explain it effectively. I congratulate all those who participated very well for that discussion, and all those deliberations were actually from your higher level thinking. Even though we feel or we say that it belongs to understanding, it shows the higher level thinking of a teacher. Very good. Now, when we say that understanding is a process that comes through different processes, sub-processes like summarizing, inferring, interpreting, exemplifying, finally, with the help of these sub-processes. And as teachers, the most important classroom process is, of course, explaining. We continuously try to explain something in the classroom. And it is to be identified that when we try to explain, the explanation should be supplemented with the other sub-processes like summarizing, interpreting, inferring, relating with examples like that. So then the explanation will become effective. So we have discussed two important levels of the domain, remember and understand. And when we frame questions, there are three categories of questions: low order thinking, middle order thinking, and higher order thinking. Usually the questions belonging to remember is taken as low order thinking. And when we come to understand, we have also identified that this is not very low order, but it is somewhat middle order, and sometimes the explanation becomes higher order. So some of the questions belonging to understanding may be low order in the sense that when we ask the question, define the concept. So this is a simple definition, and of course, definition is always a process that includes the terms and the facts or the concepts of somebody else. So we take it, or rote memorization or the meaningful memorization sometimes help us for the definition. So it can be taken as a low order thinking level question. And when we come to other thought processes like inferring or explaining, that comes to middle order thinking. And the explanation you have given for the two poems are clearly belonging to higher order thinking, no doubt. So this explanation can be sometimes in the middle order, or sometimes it becomes higher order according to the context, right? So when we frame questions, we try to categorize or divide the questions to these three categories. And usually we say that there are some questions which are very difficult, some are questions easy, some are of average level. And that logic is not good, because when we say that the questions are difficult, as teachers, is it fair to give some difficult question for them? If the teacher knows that the questions are difficult, why do we give for students? So if the teacher, when preparing the question, the teacher assumes that these questions are difficult. So if we believe that, then why do we provide that questions for our students? So this is the best classification, I think. Low order, middle order, higher order. Sometimes the higher order thinking may be difficult for them, but still we believe that they should possess the capacity to answer for this higher order thinking, right? So these three levels of questions are divided according to the content, according to the nature of the students, and according to the outcomes we try to measure. Now we come to the third one. We now thinking about the higher order thinking skills that will finally help a learner to create knowledge, right? So the third one is apply. Apply is we use the knowledge that we have acquired. And usually when we come to factual knowledge, that is related with remembering. And all those conceptual knowledge can be categorized to the level of understanding and then the higher levels too. And when we come to apply, definitely this is the procedural knowledge that we apply somewhere. If you want to apply something, there should be some procedure for that. And that procedure is developed from a conceptual knowledge. So the application of the conceptual knowledge and the procedural knowledge is taking place here. So here comes two important processes. One is executing and the other is implementing. What may be the difference between executing and implementing? Both seem similar, no? Executing and implementing. We usually execute something, we try to implement something. Both are slightly different. How it different? Executing. No. That we select some sort of knowledge, familiar or similar task. The task is already with familiar. We have solved already.
We can't hear you properly. Ma'am, it's not audible.
audible now?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for the right feedback so that I can make modifications accordingly. Executing is we apply the known procedure for tasks which are familiar for us. We don't have any opportunity for making any rectifications or other corrections or our own creativity in that. And while we come to implementing, we try to modify the steps and try to solve unfamiliar tasks. We know this procedure, but at the same time, when we face the issue, we feel that something is to be modified because some aspect of the issue is not familiar for us. That is new. So we try to modify the steps and solve the unfamiliar task. How we can identify it easily? See, this is the tool that I have presented for the last session where we discussed about metacognitive knowledge. Use the following tool to identify the academic self-efficacy of UG entrants. Who are UG entrants? Those students who come to our college after getting the admission. So they are the entrants. This is during the beginning period, during the initial time. And this is the tool that is already present with us. Then we can use it as such because we can identify what is the level of self-efficacy among them. There is no need of changing the tool. The only thing is I can execute it. Then I issue the copies of the tool for them and try to identify the score obtained among them to identify the self-efficacy. So I use my knowledge related to self-efficacy with the help of a tool which is already present with me, and it is very similar task or a familiar task for me. So this is the first stage. When the second task is there, use a proper tool to identify the academic self-efficacy of final year UG students. So the same variable is measuring, that is academic self-efficacy. And here we want to identify the academic self-efficacy, and this is for the final year students. Sometimes the same tool can be used as a pre-test and a post-test. But if I want to use it more effectively, some of the terminologies have to be modified. And I can use it for the students because their self-efficacy level may be varying. So I have to make certain modifications, like while you attended my class, have you got any motivation for improving your study habits? While you interacted with your students, have you motivated to learn more? So some sort of modifications are necessary in the tool. So I have to prepare a tool with certain modifications using the existing tool. So the new tool cannot be totally termed as my own or created by myself. So this is just a modification of the existing tool. And I use it to identify this academic self-efficacy of the final year students. So here, the first one is executing using the procedural knowledge for solving the familiar task. The second one is I am modifying the steps and solving unfamiliar task. That is implementing, right? So these are the two aspects of application. So in application, we use our knowledge, our conceptual knowledge and procedural knowledge, or sometimes certain facts and fact specific data regarding certain things are to be used in application too. So I use it in a very natural way. And sometimes I feel that at the higher level, I feel that I have to use it with certain modifications. Then that is the second aspect or the implementation stage. So when we prepare a question paper, what outcomes, what should be the nature of the question, right? The word apply itself we usually use. How do you apply this concept? How do you build this concept? Choose the appropriate one. Construct the real meaning. Develop a procedure. What is the experiment, or how do you experiment? You should give the experiment to prove that, to show that, like that. And see, experiment is not a terminology completely related with laboratories only. While we experiment with new ideas, that also become experimentation. Especially when we deal subjects in humanities, it's an experimentation. See, while we discussed the two poems, we were discussing with different sort of ideas, and that is actually an experiment. For example, when Rajesh sir was sharing that this is something very important in history, we try to destroy it or making distortions in the history and our culture. So we have to remember the roots of our culture, our history. That is a new idea, and we are experimenting that idea with this particular poem. So these sort of experiments are indeed necessary while we develop thinking skills. So make an interview with a person or suggest a few questions that can be added in an interview like that. How will you make use of this? What model, or how will you make a model? How will you organize? How will you select? How will you solve? How will you utilize? All these can be termed in the application level questions. So the outcomes are the student will be able to apply the concept learned related to OBE. The participants will be able to choose the right outcome for setting or framing a question. The participants will be able to experiment with new knowledge to produce their own procedural knowledge. The students will be able to conduct an interview with a person who is engaged in an entrepreneurship field, like that. So these are the way by which we set outcomes. Then it is very easy to prepare the question. Correspondingly, we fix the question word and add this outcome word as such. So it is very easy to identify, to prepare the question. Okay. So we will be having a mandatory exercise for tomorrow. So you have to identify all these things. If you need, the slides will be shared for you so that you can make the assignments easier. So that is mandatory for the completion of this FDP. It is not just like the previous task that I have shared. We will be having two mandatory tasks for the successful completion of FDP. One is the preparation of the outcomes, and while we try to prepare the outcomes, naturally we will be able to design the question paper. So we'll not be preparing the question paper because that will be a lengthy process. It will take too much time while we prepare a question paper for 3 hours. But when we set the outcomes, naturally that will help us to frame the questions. So the setting of the outcomes and framing the outcomes will be the task. So please listen completely, and if you have any doubts, we can clarify at the end of this session, right? Now we go to analyze. What is analysis? Breaking the material into constituent parts and determine how the parts relate to one another and to an overall structure of the purpose. As I have mentioned in the earlier, analysis is just below the synthesis. In analysis, we try to break the material into different parts and identify how the parts are related to one another. And we make a whole picture, right? For example, initially we have been thinking about what is Bloom's taxonomy. And I have said that Bloom's taxonomy have 6 levels. The 1956 or 2001, whatever be the edition, the version, it has 6 levels. So now we are analyzing each level one by one. Remember, understand, apply, analyze. Like this, we try to select each component and try to identify the sub-processes, sub-thinking skills of each component. This is analysis. And finally, at the end of all 6 levels, we bring all the components together to make the whole aspect of the Bloom's taxonomy so that we will be able to fix the outcomes clearly, right? ഓരോന്നിനെയും നമ്മൾ എടുത്തെടുത്ത് കണ്ടെത്തി നമ്മൾ അതിൻ്റെ ചെറിയ ചെറിയ എലമെന്റ്സ് ആക്കി മാറ്റി പരിശോധിക്കുന്നു, നിരീക്ഷിക്കുന്നു, അപഗ്രഥിക്കുന്നു. ദാറ്റ് ഇസ് അനാലിസിസ്. And when we try to synthesize something, we try to identify and collect the important things and we make a whole. This is the difference. So here analysis is an important process that is going on each and every moment. See, while we were discussing upon the two poems, we know even though it is put under the title understanding, what was the actual mental process? You all analyzed it effectively, I think. You broke all those materials of the poem into different aspects and tried to link it with similar aspects or similar thoughts, similar points, similar events of the different literature, and tried to give a whole picture. So when we say that analysis is a higher process, something can be overlapped with understanding too sometimes, right? And these are the three important processes in analysis: differentiating, organizing, attributing. Differentiating, organizing, and attributing. The terms indicate its meaning too. We have to differentiate, means we have to identify the important from the irrelevant one. We have to identify the significant from the unnecessary things. So that is differentiating. It is not the mere comparison. While we compare, we try to find out similarities and differences. While we differentiate something, we analyze whether it is significant or not, right? So that is differentiating. What is organizing? We try to collect the best, or we try to choose the best and try to arrange it in a sequential order. That is organizing. For example, when we think about the sub-processes of analysis, see, this is to be organized in this sequence, in this hierarchical way. That is organizing. Differentiating should come below organizing, and attributing should come at the higher level. And in the Bloom's taxonomy also, the create should come at the higher level. It is the apex of the taxonomy, and remember should be at the lower level. So this sort of organization is an important. While we listen to a class of a teacher, we can identify the organizing skill from the presentation of the teacher. How do the teacher present it systematically? So organization is that particular thinking skill that help us to arrange those learning materials in the order of abstraction, from simple to complex, from familiar to unfamiliar, from known to unknown, right? So when we present things like that, naturally students also become familiarized with the methods to organize those things in their cognitive structure. So if this sort of organization is possible, it is easily registered in the short-term memory, and it is very easy to revise or make a rehearsal so that it goes to, or it is transferred to, long-term memory. So the encoding process and the decoding process, while the students retrieve the answer for the examination, that is the decoding process. The encoding and the decoding of the information will become easier if we organize the material effectively. And what is attributing? If the materials are presented in an organized way, from itself, we can identify the essence or the theme of the content. That is the main attribute of the content that we present. It is very easy to get the clear picture. What does it mean? So that is the basic quality, the attribute can be identified. We can ascertain the main quality of that particular content. So this is attributing. So differentiating, organizing, attributing. These are the three processes that come under analyze or analysis. So what is differentiating? Discriminate relevant from the irrelevant and attend to the relevant and important information. While we go through the textbook, it may not be in a sequential order or in the sequence or in the way by which all things are very relevant. There may be some irrelevant things. So while we read through it, we should have the capacity to identify the relevant and the irrelevant. Sometimes we do it in our classrooms by saying that, see, this is very important. This has asked for the previous examination, like that. So we help them to identify the importance of the content. So this is relevant from the irrelevant. Now come to organizing, identifying the systematic and coherent connections among pieces of information. What is the systematization of the knowledge? How can I arrange it sequentially? Do I need some conceptual or the graphic organization for that? So all these come under organizing. So what is the real theme, essence of the content? That is attributing. What is the point of view of the author? While discussing the poem of Maya Angelou, it is beautifully shared by you that this was the context of the author and this is the essence of the poem. So this is attributing, right? Highest level of analyzing. Though we placed that poem as the understanding level, so we have gone through this level, attributing too, right? Now let us have the first exercise now. Please read. Suvarna lives in a home 12 kilometers away from the town. She sells pens and packets that contain 10 in each packet. Each pen has a cost of ₹5. Radhika, yes?
Could you please show the slide?
It's not visible?
Yeah, it's not visible, ma'am.
Well, it is visible.
It's visible, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Shall I read? Suvarna lives in a home 12 kilometers away from the town. She sells pens and packets that contain 10 in each packet. Each pen has a cost of ₹5. Radhika has 75 rupees with her. She wants to buy paper that costs ₹25. So she wants to buy pen for the remaining amount. How many pen does she buy from Suvarna? Sorry, there is a mistake in the question. Does she buy from? Any problem?
Voice is not clear. Your
Audible now?
voice is breaking, ma'am.
Am I audible now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So how many pen
You're
does?
audible, but then in between slides, you're audible.
Okay, how many pen does she buy from Suvarna? This is the question. Okay. And what is the task? Identify the relevant parts and reframe the question. Please come forward and share your views. The first question, it includes so many things which are relevant to solve the problem. How many pen does she buy from Suvarna? This is the question. So we have to ignore all those unnecessary things. So how do you reframe the question?
Sentence is not needed.
Yes, I agree with that. Suvarna lives in a home 12 kilometers away from the town can be deleted. Very good.
Second sentence also can
Sorry,
be deleted, ma'am.
She sells pen in packets that contain 10 in each pack. That's also not necessary, ma'am.
Yes, the second sentence is deleted. Very good.
Yes, yes.
Madam, there is a problem. If one is living 12 kilometers away, why should in this kind of a world when fuel amount goes up, one has to be one may have to practice thrift. She can't come again and again.
Okay. See, Radhika is a neighbor of Suvarna. That is not here. See, this is the way by which we delete the unnecessary thing. Radhika may be a neighbor of Suvarna, but we describe too much about Suvarna. No?
Yes.
Yes. So the second sentence is deleted. Now come to the other things. Reframe the question, please.
How much amount she has to buy the pen?
How much amount? See the question, how many pen? How many pen?
Pen.
Yeah, that's the question. So how do we reframe it?
When we can buy using
Yeah.
the balance amount.
Using the balance amount. Okay. Any modifications?
After buying paper.
After buying paper, is it relevant for the for getting the answer related to how many pen? That also can be avoided, right? So please modify it. All are welcome.
How many pens can Radhika purchase?
How many pen
Can Radhika purchase?
purchase?
Using
completed?
75 rupees or using 50 rupees.
Or 75 or 50, which is more accurate?
No, 75 rupees.
Using 50, ma'am.
We can ask.
Yeah.
As she has got the 25, like
Yes, yes. So
that is why I said like after buying paper.
Come. How many pen?
Ma'am, your voice breaks, ma'am.
Voice is breaking, ma'am.
Ma'am, your voice breaks.
Madam, I think the outcome may have to be given priority. Are we going to evaluate the mathematical ability, or are we going to evaluate her economics or something of that sort? What is the outcome that should be in front of us, on the basis of which we may have to reframe the question?
Yes, sure. The outcome, what is our outcome? I would like to assess the outcome related to the skill of analysis. How to separate the relevant from the irrelevant. This should be the outcome. I am trying to assess now. What is our ability to differentiate the relevant from the irrelevant? So how we can delete the unnecessary part of the question and how we can frame it to a very simple way where we can say that how many pens are available for ₹50. That is a simple thing. All other things are irrelevant for solving this particular question. So when students are able to identify the relevant parts of the question, it would become easy for them to solve the question, to get the answer. At the same time, as a teacher, if we make or frame questions like this, or the question includes irrelevant components, that would naturally deviate from the assessment of the outcome. As are mentioned now, we will move away from the outcome assessment. So when we frame the question should include the relevant parts only. All those irrelevant aspects are to be avoided so that the learner can answer the question appropriately and we will become able to assess the outcome appropriately. That is the aim of this particular task, right? Now, go to the second task. how do you prepare a table showing your personality traits? So when I'm giving this particular question, I would like to assess the outcome related to your ability to organize something. How do you prepare a table showing your personality traits? What are our personality traits? Different qualities that we possess. At the same time, we have different weakness too, different challenges we have. So
One's
how do we?
individuality.
Pardon?
Our own
Yeah.
individuality.
Our own individuality. What are the qualities related to my individuality? So what are the different ways by which we can prepare a table? Since it's a table, it shows that the table should be framed with certain headings like that. So how do I arrange my qualities in that table? That shows what 4.2, organizing. Am I able to arrange those things in a systematic manner? So here comes the importance of organizing ability. So if the learner is able to arrange these things in a systematic way, and by observing that, if I get a coherent view of that, naturally, I can ensure that the outcome organizing related to analysis. The learner has the ability to analyze the self. So this sort of questions will help to ensure the outcome. While we set the outcome analysis, what are the different types of questions that can be included? And how do we ensure that this outcome is achieved? Right? So there are different ways by which we can prepare a table. Just like as you know, all of us are familiar with the SWOT analysis or Johari Winter like that. So when we put different personality traits in that, we prepare a table and we can organize everything in a very easy manner. So these sort of skills are higher order level skills that help a person to coming to the level of analysis. Now see the next level. These sort of questions are very familiar in different aptitude test and assessment of different higher order thinking skill tests, where we assess the higher level abilities of the students, like All India examinations, All India services. 5 people are in hospital. Each person has one disease and each has different disease. Each one is in a room. Room numbers.
Slide is not visible.
Slide is not moving.
Are we coming now?
No, ma'am.
Not at.
The slide remains the same.
New slide is
Is it visible now?
No.
No.
Ma'am, before you go on to the next question, can I ask you something about this?
Yes, sure.
Ma'am, for that first question, I mean, we can frame it like you said. We can make it simpler. We can just say Suvarna sells pens that cost 5 rupees each. Radhika has 75 rupees with her. She wants to buy a paper that costs 25 rupees. How many pens can she buy for the remaining amount? It's straightforward. Students will understand. Only the relevant points are there. My question is, we are examining college students. Shouldn't they also be tested on their comprehension skills? Because these are these are real life situations. I mean, you're not going to get, as they grow older and as they go into workplaces, they're not going to get situations where questions are asked in a very, very straightforward way. Isn't comprehension also important when you're framing a question?
Okay, I will come to that.
Ma'am, I'm sorry, I'm unable to hear you.
Is it visible now?
Okay, visible.
Yes.
Okay. So let me come to the
Yes, ma'am.
clarification of the doubt. Yeah. Good question. See, the question framing, while we frame questions like this, it's okay, but the ability to identify the relevant from the irrelevant is very important. And if our outcome is that, of course, the questions can be framed like this, no doubt. We should train the students to identify which is the relevant part and which is the irrelevant part. For that, the comprehension is essential. So if the outcome is based on that, of course, that is good. And the task was something very different, no? If the question is like this, it's okay. So the task was students to identify
Voice is breaking.
Not audible, ma'am.
Am I audible now?
Yes.
Thank
you. See, the task was to identify the relevant from the irrelevant so that we guide our students to identify these significant things and make a simple comprehension from that to solve the problem. So this is the outcome to be achieved. So these sort of questions should be given so that they get a training to identify the relevant from the irrelevant. So the simple level of, the output should be the ability of the student to frame it into a simple question. The task was to help the learner to identify the relevant from the irrelevant. So these sort of questions are necessary, sometimes can be provided so that the learner get a clear picture of the concept through analysis. So as you mentioned, this is highly helpful for the students to identify the relevant from the irrelevant. But at the same time, if the outcome is analysis, it is okay. If the outcome is a low level one, the question should be reframed. What was the task? The learner finally reframed the question to solve the problem. Okay. He gets the capacity to identify the relevant from the irrelevant. Of course, this type of comprehension is essential for a learner, especially in the higher level. Thank you. Thank you for supplementing. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Then when we come to this question, see, this is higher level analysis. 5 people are in hospital. Each person has one disease and each has different disease. Each one is in a room. Room numbers are 101 to 105. The question is, what is the disease of Rahim? What is the room number? And for that, certain statements are given below. The person with asthma is in room number 101. Mr. Lopez has heart disease. See, since the example is related to diseases, I purposefully deleted, not included the names of the participants, right? Okay. Lopez has heart disease. Green is in room number 105. Smith has COVID. The person with tuberculosis is in room number 104. Mr. Thomas is in room number 101. Smith is in room number 102. One of the person other than Rahim has kidney disease. So here comes the highest level of analysis. How do we get the answer? So we start from differentiating. Then we go to organizing, and finally we try to get the point of view of the problem. For that, we have to differentiate, we have to organize this. This is the easiest way to get the answer. We try to differentiate and organize the content given in the question. This would immediately help us to gain the answer. Do you have any answer for this?
104 and he is having kidney disease.
104. Excellent, excellent answer. Excellent, excellent.
How can you say that, madam? 101 is very much there. There are only 5 people. They are already here. Lopez, Green, and Smith. Thomas and Smith. Oh, okay, one is missing. Smith is again
yeah.
given 100. Oh, okay.
So who gave the answer? Who gave the answer first? Your name, please. Hello. Hello. Who gave the answer first?
The lady has given the answer.
Yeah. Who is that lady? Sir also complimented with some doubts. Okay.
I am Mini.
Mini. Ah, very good. Very good, Mini. Congratulations. Right answer. Okay. So this is analysis in the way by which we try to arrange all those things in a way to organize those materials, and it would help us to get the real theme of the question, and we specifically choose that Rahim is in 104 with tuberculosis. So this is the concept of the thinking skill analysis, right? So what are the different components of the outcomes that can be set in relation to analysis? Analyze, distinguish, examine, compare, contrast, investigate, sometimes identify, explain. Of course, explain can be given to any level. So the questions can be framed. How was this similar to that? What was the underlying theme of this? This is attributing. What was the underlying theme of this particular story? What do you see as other possible outcomes? So can you compare? Can you explain? This can be used while we ask orally. What are some of the problems you have identified here? Can you distinguish between these two? What are the motives behind this, or what is the theme? That is attributing. What was the motive behind this? What was the real problem associated with this? Like we proceed to different framing of questions related to analysis. So analysis is higher order thinking, where we try to identify the different components and we try to organize and make as a whole to get the real theme of something. Now this is evaluate. The word itself indicates
the
that
slides are not moving.
Maybe coming now.
We are still with that question.
Can you see this slides representing the outcome verbs?
No, ma'am.
Sorry, very sorry.
Slide is still there.
Okay, sorry.
We are in hospital.
Can you see this?
Okay.
Thank you. So different outcomes associated with analysis. Analyze, distinguish, examine, compare, contrast, investigate, identify. And of course, explanation can be added to any level of questions, any level of thinking skills, so that the remaining terminology is defined, which is thinking skill. How was, what were the similarities? What do you see as other possible outcomes? Can you explain what must have happened like this? And what are some of the key issues related to this? what were the motives behind this, what was the problem associated with this. So even though we use the question word what, the remaining terms decide the level of thinking skill, right? Is it visible?
Yes, visible.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Evaluation. We continuously try to make judgments related to different aspects in our life, no doubt. And especially teachers are highly skilled in making evaluations. We make judgments related to different personalities. And from the very beginning itself, we are able to judge our students by mere observation. And sometimes those observations and judgments are not valid or reliable or not objective. We analyze based on, we make it just based on certain prejudices or certain observations. And we have to be very careful in evaluating our students, evaluating the answer paper, or evaluating any product or person. And we have to think about, we should have a metacognitive knowledge related to evaluation, that what is our quality and qualification to evaluate other people and their products. We continuously make comments related to our colleagues. We make many comments related to our students. So we should have a metacognitive knowledge and self-awareness that do we possess adequate qualities and qualifications to make these sort of evaluations of other people. And I think it is very easy to make evaluations regarding the products, no problem. But when we are trying to make evaluations regarding persons, we have to be very careful. There is a good quote. We can count number of seeds in an apple, but who can count the number of apples from a seed? Can you explain the statement? Can you analyze it? We can count the number of seeds in an apple, but can you count the number of apples in a seed? What's the meaning? What is the underlying theme? So that is attributing. Please contribute. Please come forward. I would like to listen to you because. Yeah. Please.
I am Mini.
Mini.
Ma'am, ഒരു സീഡിൽ നിന്നും എത്ര ആപ്പിൾ ഉണ്ടാകും എന്നുള്ളത് നമുക്ക് കൗണ്ട് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റില്ല മാം. അത് ട്രീ ആയിട്ട് അതിൽ നിന്ന് ഒരുപാട് ആപ്പിൾ ഉണ്ടാകാനുള്ള ചാൻസസ് ഉണ്ടല്ലോ മാം.
Okay. So what does it indicate? എന്താണ് അതിന്റെ ഒരു ഇംപ്ലിക്കേഷൻ?
Don't be short-sighted.
Very good. Yeah, don't be short-sighted. ദീർഘവീക്ഷണം വേണം അല്ലേ? മുമ്പിൽ കാണുന്നത് വെച്ച് കാര്യങ്ങൾ പറയുന്നത് ശരിയല്ല. Okay, very good. Anything else to add?
Never
irrelevant.
Yeah, I heard both comments. Never underestimate other people. Okay. Very good. See, all students are just like seeds. നമുക്ക് പറയാൻ പറ്റത്തില്ല അവർ ആരായി തീരുന്നു, എന്തായി മാറുന്നു എന്നുള്ളത് ഒരിക്കലും പറയാൻ പറ്റത്തില്ല അല്ലേ? And while I have been interacting with the teacher group, one teacher said, see, after attending the first 2 classes, one teacher commented like this in the staff room, 5 or 6 students got admission in sports quota. അവർ വെറുതെ എന്തിനു വരുവാണ്, വെറുതെ ഈ ക്ലാസ് നശിപ്പിക്കും. എനിക്ക് ആ ക്ലാസ്സിൽ പോകാൻ ഇഷ്ടമേ ഇല്ല. I don't like that class because 6 students they got admission through sports quota, so they will make the whole class in a bad atmosphere, and this is the prejudice of the teacher. So this is the evaluation that we make, just like I mentioned earlier. We are trying to make or counting the number of apples in the seed. So while we try to evaluate the students, we have to be very careful. Our responsibility is to assess their products. And the examination paper is a product. Assignment is a product. Their behavior is, of course, is a product. Their answer is a product. But the person is a person. the human dignity is to be respected. So evaluation is to be explained in relation with metacognition, no doubt. How do we evaluate other people? What is our qualification? How do we deserve? What is our degree, or what is our research? What is our methods? What are the criteria by which we evaluate other people? And we usually make evaluations of other people, and those evaluations make wide gaps in interpersonal relationship, I think. That's why we usually say that we have to be unconditional while we try to love a person, especially in family relationship. If the wife always try to evaluate the husband, so that means that there is no love. So it's not possible to love that particular person if you logically evaluate the person in a very reasonable way. By reasoning, by logical analysis, if you try to make analysis about your husband or about your wife, then the affective component is there. So the personal evaluations make wide gap between interpersonal relationship. So we believe that we have to accept people unconditionally. So love is an unconditional verb. It's not a noun, no, it's a verb. We love a person unconditionally. We accept a person with all the deficiencies and defects and try to love that particular person. And as a teacher, it's our responsibility to see and love our students unconditionally. We can correct their behavior, we can correct their products, but these students are human beings. When we try to evaluate our children, our own children at home, it would be very difficult to manage them. So their products, their behavior, their marks, their notebook, their learning habits, everything can be evaluated. But on the basis of the evaluation, if I say that you are like this, no. Your assignment is like this, your answer paper is like this, that doesn't indicate that you are this. ഒരു കുട്ടി ഉത്തരം പറയുന്ന കുട്ടിയെ നമ്മൾ കൊള്ളാം മിടുക്കൻ മിടുക്കി എന്നൊക്കെ പറയുമ്പം അത് ശരിയാണ്. Your answer is good. That doesn't indicate that you are very smart. Sometimes you may be smart, but this answer alone is not an implication of your smartness. So when we praise or when we criticize other people, too much personal, the comments of too much personal dimensions are to be avoided. Right. So what are the important aspects? Checking. One C is missing there. Checking and critiquing. Okay. So the first one is checking. One C is missing. That itself is checking. That is the lower level of evaluation. I'm verifying the spelling of checking, and I have observed that one C is missing. That is checking. What is critiquing? Critiquing is the process in which we are trying to identify the merits and demerits of different aspects, for which we are very smart and efficient. No? നമ്മളെല്ലാവരും അതിൽ ഭയങ്കര സ്കിൽഡ് അല്ലേ ക്രിട്ടിസൈസ് ചെയ്യാന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ. What is checking? Detecting how well it is working. Is it okay or not? അത്രേ ഉള്ളൂ. It is present here. Is it okay? That is checking. Just a verification. And what is the mistake in 5.2? Check it, please. Any mistake for 5.2?
Critiquing.
Yeah. Is it critiquing? T is missing.
T is missing.
Yeah. That is again checking. Okay. So through critiquing, we try to judge the merits and demerits. While C is there for checking, T is missed for critiquing. So you are checking the spelling of critiquing, and critiquing includes the merits and demerits of something. Of course, the merits are to be highlighted and demerits are to be specified with the objective that they are to be eliminated or to be avoided. So that's the real sense of critiquing or critical thinking. Critical thinking is not something to criticize everything. It is to identify the deficiencies so that those can be avoided and merits can be boosted. So see the examples. What is your opinion about online learning for UG students? That is going on now. And we all are familiar with the procedure. So I try to detect how well it is working now. That is mere checking. So that's evaluating. What is your opinion? Of course, that is related to evaluation. My opinion should come through checking something. And how does it come? Through analysis, through understanding, and of course, remembering also is a part of that. So remembering, understanding, I understand the different procedure of online learning. Throughout these days, these months, I have been analyzing the process of online learning. Now, I have the capacity to give an opinion regarding online learning. ഇപ്പോഴെനിക്കൊരു അഭിപ്രായം പറയാനുള്ള ഒരു എന്താ പറയുക, അതിനെ ഒരു ലെവലിൽ ഞാൻ എത്തിച്ചേർന്ന എന്തുകൊണ്ടാണ്? I have gone through the other stages of the thinking process. Without understanding, without the ability to analyze something, it is not possible to give a right opinion. ചുമ്മാ എന്തെങ്കിലുമൊക്കെ വിളിച്ചു പറയാം. That should not be taken as the valid opinion. So this is checking. Now, when we come to the second one, critically evaluate the role of digital learning in present educational system. It requires more. It is not a mere checking. It goes to the higher level. I understand the merits and demerits of this online learning. I'm aware of the different practices in digital learning in India, in different states of India. And at present, I am able to make an evaluation. What are the advantages of digital learning in this COVID pandemic period? How it becomes a necessity for conducting classes in the absence of offline, direct face-to-face class. How it can be conducted effectively. At the same time, what are the challenges that we face? What are the most important issues to be addressed? What are the solutions for that? So all critical evaluations should give some guidance, some focus upon the solutions too. വെറുതെ കുറ്റം പറയാന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ ആർക്കും പറ്റുന്നൊരു കാര്യമാണ്. So that cannot be considered as critical thinking. While I criticize something, I should have some solutions for that. At least I have to deliberate upon the solutions so that I can motivate other people to think in a positive way to get some solutions. So this is the difference between checking and critiquing. So how do we fix outcomes related to that? We try to judge something. We select the best from many, which is the best option. Select that. How do we select that? We analyze, we criticize, we find the merits and demerits, and the best one will have the most important merits. We will choose the right one. We will make decisions. How do we make decisions? By comparing the merits and demerits. We always select a decision which have certain merits. We try to justify something based on our criticism or based on verification, right? How do we argue for something? All arguments are based upon the merits of certain statements. I stand for this particular thing. I stand for this ideology. This is my argument because I believe that this have certain merits. How do you recommend for something? Because you believe that this has certain merits. How do you rate something? Based on the merits. How do you prioritize something? Of course, it is based on the merits and our judgments. How do you defend? We believe that certain merits are there. It has certain uses. It is highly helpful. So we defend in that sense. So judge the value of it. What is a better solution for that? Do you think this is good or bad? How would you have handled this situation? Do you believe in this? Do you believe in this? Yes, I believe, because those because indicate my evaluation capacity. How would you feel it? I feel it nice, because those because implies the merits. How effective is? How effective are? Yes, it is effective, because all these give implications to evaluation, right? So when we set some outcomes related to this, we try to ensure that the students will able to evaluate these things. So evaluation is a higher order thinking skills, because it includes the other components. Deep understanding is necessary to evaluate something. Only through analysis evaluation takes place. And hence evaluation becomes a higher order thinking, where the person can judge the merits and demerits, highlight the merits, and can suggest some ways to diminish the demerits. So while we teach topics in classrooms, ultimately we have to help them to evaluate those content in the sense why it is important for us. Why do we learn this particular topic? What are its advantages to my life? What are its contributions to the society? So when we transact the curriculum, we can convey messages related to this. For example, while we select the poem of Kuiper or that of Maya, why it is important? Because it is highly motivational for us. While we go through this, we get an energy to think in a different way. So it makes certain changes in our thought process. It provides certain components for our metacognition. We develop more self-awareness related to our situations. So this is good. This poem is good. So this is the importance of giving opportunities for the students to evaluate something. So while we teach something, of course, we can add a few questions like this. Does it indicate that the students are evaluating you? They are evaluating the product that we transferred in the classroom, the poem, the story, the content, the system, the method, the process. They are the products. So while the students say that this is not useful for us, don't connect yourself with their answer. Why do you say like this? Oh, never think that like that. Sometimes we feel like this because our ego is distorted. Teachers should have an ego with an equilibrium. Then only it is possible to identify the positive aspects of evaluation from students. See how often we give opportunities for the students to evaluate our teaching methods. Do you collect feedback from your students regarding your teaching? We give yes, very good. We give an opportunity for them to evaluate us in the sense that they are evaluating our skills, our methodologies, our techniques, our content transaction in the classroom. So these opportunities, these type of opportunities will naturally enhance their thinking skills. A student is presenting a seminar in the classroom. Meanwhile, we distribute a peer evaluation sheet for our students so that each student get an opportunity to evaluate the presentation of that particular learner. They try to evaluate the assignment. For that evaluation, they should have keen attention, concentration. So all those aspects will be developed at the same time. They go through the process of evaluation, which indicate that, which provide self-awareness for them that while I evaluate this seminar, I feel that the communication needs to be enhanced, needs to be improved. The voice modulation needs to be there. The voice was not audible. The gestures were not proper. The content was not adequate. Through that, the metacognitive knowledge generates in me that when I present a paper, I should present by following all these things. So this is the importance and significance of providing opportunities for learners to evaluate something. So we can encourage self-evaluation and peer evaluation among the students for improving their learning skills, for improving the thinking skills too. Now we come to the last one, create. We believe that all learners have the capacity to create something. We perceive all learners as creators of knowledge. Teachers are not the transactors of the content. Rather, they also create knowledge for the learners. And we assume, we expect that they also should create knowledge in their own way by making their own plans and products according to different situations. What is creation? It is just the opposite of analysis. We have already discussed about that. It is synthesis. Different components are there. Creation is not creating something as a new, but it is the rearrangement of already existing things. And when we try to rearrange something, the meaning will be changing. We have an exercise today morning. The letters were reshuffled to get the word thinking. So when we try to rearrange the letters, we get the new meaning, thinking. So rearrangement and reorganization will always give a new meaning. How this thinking skill can be enhanced in our classroom? If the teacher is creative, naturally the elements of creativity will spread in the classroom, no doubt. Creativity is a contagious skill. If the teacher is very creative, those thought processes will be reflected in the classroom. And naturally, each learner will try to go through the same path by contributing something different in the classroom. What are the different sub-processes in creating, generating, planning, finally producing? A product is formed. Generating means generating new concepts. The student have certain factual knowledge, conceptual knowledge, and procedural knowledge. Through that, he tries to generate a new concept or a new procedure with the feeling that I can do something. And that feeling, I can do something and I will do something, is related to metacognitive knowledge. See, the way by which all these types of knowledge are constantly interacting with each other to produce something new, or all these types of knowledge plays its own role in thinking skill development. We generate new concepts, new ideas. From morning till now, while we were discussing these puzzles and questions, different poems, different issues, all of you were generating new concepts for the whole group. It was something new for each of us. Each contribution is to be appreciated because there was some novelty in that. It was unique. So this is generating. Generating. The second one is planning. What is generating? Suggesting possible solutions. Proposing certain different explanations. Assuming that this may be the reason. Assuming that this may be the future. Assuming that this may be a working methodology. So this is generating. What is the next level? We try to plan something as our own. We try to devise a procedure for achieving a goal, devising a solution for a problem. So all of us have different plans for implementing different things, no doubt. We make planning while we go for a class. So that planning itself is a part of creating. How do I proceed for the coming 1 hour? That is a planning. That's a creation of yourself. So that is creativity. How do you plan your time today evening? The question for the students will help them to make a plan. And each plan will be different. That is a part of creativity. So whenever we think of a new procedural knowledge, definitely that will come to planning or creating. Sri Shankara College has organized 2 FDPs here. Their planning is to be appreciated because they have implemented it effectively. This is for the second time they are conducting this program. Then how do you plan an FDP in your institution? You have to devise a procedure for that. That is creativity, no doubt. You have to prepare a framework for that. That is creativity. What is your plan for making your online teaching more effective? You may be having certain plans for that. After 10 or 15 minutes, after the lecturing of the teacher, there should be some interactions. We can integrate some activities for them to participate. So while as a teacher, I listen their voice, I can understand the level of their participation. See, the importance of auditory perception is increasing nowadays. Why? Since as teachers, we do not have adequate opportunity to see the faces of the students. Even if we are in a Google Meet, the faces or the background, the person with the background, what we see may not be appropriate or correct, maybe blurred. The real facial expressions cannot be identified. While we are in a classroom, see the difference. The same teacher is explaining the same content to the classroom where all students have the similar facilities, the same daylight, the same air circulation, the same movements is received of the teacher, the same movements of the teacher is received by the students. And they are getting the same blackboard, the visual, the same visuals. And now, when we are in the online mode, each student is getting different environmental inputs that we have discussed in the morning session. The environmental inputs are entirely different for each learner. What they see is different. a person who is observing a class with the help of a laptop and a person who is observing the class with the help of a smartphone or listening the audio of the teacher, all these will be different. And see the place where they are sitting. While the college classroom provide equal opportunity for all students to listen the class, when we come to the home environment, each student is in a different situation. Again, it affects the environmental inputs. So, the visual aspects are not very significant nowadays. We don't get an opportunity to see the face of a student. See, if we get an opportunity to make this FDP in a face-to-face mode, the whole thing will be different. While looking at your faces, I can make spontaneous interactions. I can make changes in my strategies. But all these are impossible now. While we are in the classroom, while we communicate with the students, by looking at the faces, we get that feedback without listening their voices or without getting an auditory feedback. By looking at the faces, by looking at the eyes, especially by looking at the muscles near the mouth, that gives the real feedback for a teacher. Whether smiling, whether depressed, whether sad, whether responding, everything can be observed by observing the muscles near the mouth, lips. But when we are restricted with use of mask like that, or when we are away from face-to-face communication, the only mode of attending the learner is their voice. So the skill of auditory perception is to be enhanced among the teachers for overcoming the barriers and challenges of this COVID issues, online teaching issues. By listening the voice, we can identify the energy level, the emotional status, no doubt. So try to include activities where we get the voices of the learners. That is very important. That is the only way to get the real feedback of our students. We may be having a lot of slides or a lot of videos for presenting them. That will give satisfaction for the teacher only. How do they respond to it? We may get some feedbacks through the chat box, but getting the voice is the most important feedback, so that if we are skilled in analyzing the auditory skills, we can analyze the emotional status of the students, their academic progress, their level of understanding, and their needs too. So what are your plans to make the online teaching effective? You have to make a plan. So that is a part of your creativity. While I communicate in this FDP program, I was continuously thinking about various strategies so that I can hear your voice. If it is a one-way communication, I think that would not be effective. I have to respect each of you. All of us are college teachers. So to identify, to respect your dignity, your voices are to be heard by me. Because everybody has the right to use the voice. Very
true, ma'am.
Yes. And I like the voices of your children too. ചിലരുടെ ഭർത്താക്കന്മാരുടെ ശബ്ദം കേട്ടു, ചിലരുടെ വീട്ടിലെ വാഹനങ്ങളുടെ ശബ്ദം കേട്ടു, എത്രയോ കുഞ്ഞുങ്ങളുടെ ശബ്ദം കേട്ടു. അത് കേൾക്കുന്നതിൽ എനിക്കൊരു ബുദ്ധിമുട്ടും തോന്നിയിട്ടേ ഇല്ല. ബിക്കോസ് ഇൻ ദ ഓൺലൈൻ മോഡ്, ദിസ് ഇസ് ദ ഓൺലി വേ ത്രൂ വിച്ച് വി മേക്ക് ഇറ്റ് ഡൈനാമിക് ആൻഡ് ലൈവ്. But when it becomes a disturbance, of course, we have to reduce that noises. See, the difference between voice and noise is to be identified. Differentiate voice and noise. The voice of a child is sweet for me. But what is noise? Anything to contribute?
A disturbance.
Yeah, it's a disturbance. So the voice or the crying of your child is not a noise. That is pleasing. And I know the difficulties while you participate in this FDP. Sitting at home, you all have too much responsibility of the home. Simultaneously, you are attending this program. And there are many studies and surveys that clearly prove that majority of the women have problems during this COVID pandemic period due to overburden of the household responsibilities. Whoever it is, whether it is a principal or a teacher, the responsibilities of the woman have increased or doubled. Taking care of the children during the daytime, attending their online classes, and at the same time conducting online classes for our own students, all these make us very frustrated, no doubt. Still, we have to find our own ways and strategies to make our classes and make our life more creative, right? And now what is the last one? Producing. What is producing? We prepare a product. We carry out a plan for achieving the goal. So this FDP is a product of Sri Shankara College. They planned last week to conduct a program. That was the planning session. Of course, that's a part of creation, creativity. And now the product is here. We all are elements of this product. We all are collaboratively trying to make this product beautiful. Right. So what are the different verbs that we can use for it and how we can set outcomes related to this? Adapt. If you are creative, you will be adaptable. Build, change, choose, combine, compose, design, develop, formulate, imagine, improve, invent, maximize, minimize, modify, originate, plan, like that. So how do we make questions for that? How would you improve? Can you propose an alternative? How would you adapt? How could you change? What could be done to minimize it? What way would you design it? Like that. Can you formulate a solution? Can you predict the outcome? Can you construct a model for that? What are your thoughts? Your original thoughts? Can you suggest an original way for it? All this can be connected to create. Okay, now I would like to check the outcomes of this particular session. Okay. So I would now I would like to check the outcomes, whether you have achieved the outcomes related to the topic, this thinking skills. So try to identify the cognitive process of these questions. These all questions are related to remember, understand, apply, analyze, evaluate, and create. So after reading the question, give the answer corresponding to the cognitive process. If you give the right answer, that shows that the outcome has achieved. Yes, let us go to the first question. What are the types of knowledge? Don't give the answer. What is the level of question? What is the cognitive process remember, understand, apply, like that. What's the answer?
Remember.
Very good. Very good.
Remember.
Explain the conceptual knowledge with 2 examples.
Understand.
Application.
Analyze.
Understanding.
Yeah, conceptual knowledge with 2 examples can be included in understanding. The next one. How would you organize subject matter based on types of knowledge? How would you organize? Yeah. How would you use it? That is application. Why metacognitive knowledge is significant for personal growth?
Analyze it.
Analyze.
We try to analyze it. Very good. The 5th one, level of motivation is the key factor for student learning. Justify the statement.
Evaluate.
Evaluate.
Very good. Very good. Very good. Of course, what will be the last one? Propose.
Create.
3 classroom activities for enhancing self-awareness among learners. Create. Very good. So through this way, I ensure that my outcomes, the outcomes that I set for the present session, that is identification of the cognitive process. You should identify the various cognitive process related to each question. That was my outcome. And your responses show that you have achieved those outcomes. But this was presented in a very simplest mode. ഒന്നീന്ന് ആറിലോട്ട് പോയാൽ നാച്ചുറലി ഇതാണ് അതിന്റെ സീക്വൻസ് എന്ന് പിടികിട്ടുന്ന തരത്തിലാണ് ഇത് കൊടുത്തിരിക്കുന്നത്. So this is an easy method. And you have responded in a very positive manner and all the answers were right. Okay. Now let me go to the next level of questioning. വളരെ പെട്ടെന്ന് നമുക്കൊന്ന് നോക്കാം. ഇത്തിരി കൺഫ്യൂസിങ് ആയിരിക്കും കേട്ടോ. വളരെ ശ്രദ്ധയോടെ നോക്കണം. There are 11 questions. You can write out the answer first. Then we will check later. Don't say aloud now. Write down the answer first. Feby could answer the question, how many levels for Bloom's taxonomy? So what was the thinking skill related to that? Feby could answer the question, how many levels for Bloom's taxonomy? Whether it is remember, understand, apply. So give your answer. Write down. The second activity, Hima suggested 3 ways for improving online classes. What is the cognitive process behind that? Remember, understand, apply, analyze, evaluate, create. Suggested her own 3 ways. So what is it? Third one, Muhammad Ali explained the processes in understanding. So identify the relevant from the irrelevant. Muhammad Ali explained. That is the relevant part. Explained the processes in understanding. Explained the processes, procedure in understanding. Fourth one, Texin used the procedural knowledge of cooking the biryani. In other words, Texin cooked a biryani. Texin ഒരു മോട്ടിവേഷൻ ആയിക്കോട്ടെ. ടെക്സിൻ ബിരിയാണി ഉണ്ടാക്കിയിട്ടുണ്ടോ എന്ന് എനിക്ക് അറിയത്തില്ല. എന്നാലും ഓക്കെ. Texin used the procedural knowledge. That is the clue. Fifth one, Manish compared the factual knowledge with conceptual knowledge. Manish compared. Comparison. Sixth one, after reading the text, Afifa selected the most relevant points for teaching. Relevant points for teaching. Afifa selected the relevant from the irrelevant. Seventh one. Baburaj presented the policy of MG University regarding OBE. The policy is there, already there. Just presented it. Baburaj sir undo indatha? Sir?
ഉണ്ട് മാഡം
ഉണ്ട് ബാബുരാജ് എന്ന പേര് എഴുതിയിട്ടേ ഉള്ളേ. ആദരവോടുകൂടി സാറേ എന്ന് വിളിക്കുന്നു കേട്ടോ. ഓക്കെ 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 ഓക്കെ. സോ eighth one, please see. Suvarna Rani prepared a plan for implementing OB in MGU. Prepared a plan. See the difference? Baburaj presented the policy that is existing in MG University, but Suvarna Rani prepared a new plan for implementing OB in MGU. Ninth one. Salikutti and Donna designed a question paper for outcome assessment. They designed a question paper. 10th one. Premi identified that Febi was recalling the answer. Premi identified that Febi was recalling the answer. Last one. Gnanaselvi explained the merits and demerits of the question paper of Madura University. Okay, it's over. Now let us come to the answers. What is the answer for the first one? Febi could answer the question. Remember. Okay.
Remember.
Okay. Jaichu. Oru mark. Second one, Hima suggested 3 ways for improving online classes.
Create.
Very good. Create. Because it's her own plan, though that is create. Third one, Muhammad Ali explained the process and understanding. Understand. Very good. Fourth one, Texin used the procedure knowledge. Texin cooked a biryani. Apply. Very good. Manish compared the factual knowledge with conceptual knowledge.
Analyze.
Understanding, analysis, both can be right. Understanding. Yeah, it is understanding. There is no differentiation there. So sometimes it may be under the analysis also, no problem. Either understanding or analysis. Sixth one, Afeefa sir selected the most relevant points.
Evaluate. Analyze.
Yes, analysis. Relevant from the irrelevant is analysis. Baburaj sir presented the policy.
Understanding.
Remember or understand.
Remembering.
Remember allayadayalum present
Understanding.
Yeah.
Understand.
Baburaj സാറിന്റെ അഭിപ്രായം ഒന്ന് ചോദിക്കട്ടെ. സാർ എന്ത് പറയും സാറേ? സാറേ കേക്കാവോ? വെറുതെ കയറി ഒരു കാര്യം പ്രസന്റ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റൂ? ഇല്ലല്ലോ. ചെറിയ ഡിസ്റ്റർബൻസ് ഉണ്ട്. നോ പ്രോബ്ലം. സി, വെറുതെ നമുക്കൊരു കാര്യം പ്രസന്റ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുമോ? മിനിമം ഒരു അണ്ടർസ്റ്റാൻഡിംഗ് എങ്കിലും വേണ്ടേ? അല്ലേ? വേണം. അപ്പം റിമെമ്പറിംഗ് കൊണ്ട് കളയില്ല കേട്ടോ. മിനിമം അണ്ടർസ്റ്റാൻഡിംഗ്. റൈറ്റ്. ദെൻ അനാലിസിസ്, അത് ഉള്ള സാധനത്തിനെ അനലൈസ് ചെയ്തിട്ട് പ്രസന്റ് ചെയ്യുന്നെങ്കിൽ അനാലിസിസ് വരെ പറയാം. സുവർണ റാണി പ്രിപ്പയർഡ് എ പ്ലാൻ.
Create.
Very good. Salikutti and Donna designed the question paper.
Create.
Very good. Creating. Because the question paper will be a different one, unique one, that can be termed as create. Premi identified that Febi was recalling the answer. Analysis. Not remember, analysis. See, immediately after the comment, by observing that, Premi analyzed the response of Fabi and says that this is recalling. So that is analysis. Then Jnana Selvi explained the merits and demerits.
Understand.
Understand.
Analyze.
Merits and demerits.
Evaluate.
Very good. That is evaluation. When we try to identify the merits and demerits, we try to judge it. So that is evaluation. Very good. Okay. So this shows that we have some level or the required level of understanding or the essential level of understanding related to outcomes. We all have the clear understanding related to outcomes. That's why you have answered very well. Now, what will we do? Yes, any problem? അതുകൊണ്ട് നമ്മൾ എന്ത് ചെയ്യണം? This is a task. Select. Any doubts?
Answer was given.
Pardon? Any doubts?
Ma'am, 9 to an answer, was it given?
Yeah, Salikutti and Donna. Who is it? Salikutti ano?
9th question's answer, was it given? I just missed it out.
Okay, it is designing. So it's something
Can you
new.
hear me,
Create.
ma'am?
Yes. Create.
Yeah,
Creating.
Okay, thank you. So this is the task to be done. Yes. Task. You select a module or a unit from your discipline or the course and find out the learning outcomes to be achieved through the module. We have to frame the question paper, but when we are able to set the outcomes, we can directly frame the question word. So that is not essential now. The thing is whether we are able to fix the outcomes easily. So what is your task? Select any topic or a module as such. Then try to identify the outcomes to be achieved through that particular unit. That is to be mentioned. For example, after learning the module in types of knowledge, the learner will be able to. So this is the format. The outcomes are remember, understand, apply, analyze, evaluate, and create. There should be some related cognitive processes in connection with the course. This is course outcome. This is the way by which we set course outcome. So the learner will be able to remember. How? The learner will be able to recognize the types of knowledge. Now the second one, understand. You can add anything, any number of items there. Second is understand. The learner will be able to understand types of knowledge. How? Learner will be able to interpret the knowledge in terms of its nature, exemplify various types of knowledge, classify the learning materials, summarize the theme of the subject, infer the need of metacognitive knowledge for personal growth, compare factual knowledge and conceptual knowledge, and explain the types of knowledge with suitable examples. It's not compulsory that you have to include all the processes. But if you feel that all these processes are included in the course, these should be your outcomes. So that should be mentioned. And apply. What is the application of your topic in life or in different situations? So the learner will be able to use the knowledge in required fields to identify the types of knowledge. It's enough. Analyze. The learner will be able to differentiate conceptual knowledge and procedural knowledge. The learner will be able to organize learning materials. The learner will be able to attribute the essential theme of the subject matter. So in that level, relate your subject with these processes. What differentiation, what organization the student will do, what attributing will do, that can be included. And when we come to evaluate, we know there are two processes, check and critique. So the learner will be able to check the relevance. Learner will be able to identify the merits and demerits. And finally, create. Learner will be able to generate different knowledge in 4 forms, plan the procedure to produce something. So identify the relevance of each outcome according to your subject. It is not compulsory that all these processes in this particular unit. In this particular course, these outcomes will be there. For some other unit, some other outcomes will be there. So it's not compulsory that everything should be there, but try to integrate as much outcomes as possible which are significant. Okay, so select any unit or module of your subject, of your course, and try to identify, set the outcomes. And if you are able to set the outcomes, it is very easy to make the questions from that, because I know these are the outcomes. So corresponding to that, I can write out the question. And then the thing is, I have to fix the mark for this particular question. That's the only thing remaining. So it is very easy to prepare. So of course, it's a thought-provoking task. You have to apply higher order thinking skills to make it significant, to make it outcome based. And this is the task. This is mandatory for the completion of the FTP. So the time for submission will be up to 8 p.m. tomorrow. Because on Friday, I have to give a feedback related to this. എന്ത് പറയുന്നു? ജനാധിപത്യം വേണ്ടേ? നിങ്ങളുടെ അഭിപ്രായം പറ.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. So if some of you have any troubles or any inconveniences, you are free to submit it later so that I can give a feedback personally. Sometimes it may not be possible to give it in the Friday session. ഏതെങ്കിലും ഇൻകൺവീനിയൻസ് ഉള്ളവർക്ക് നാളെ സബ്മിറ്റ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുന്നില്ലെങ്കിൽ the coordinator will submit it later and I will give the feedback, no problem. അതുകൊണ്ട് നാളത്തെ ക്ലാസ്സിൽ അറ്റൻഡ് ചെയ്യാതിരുന്ന് എഴുതരുത് കേട്ടോ. നമ്മൾ ഈ ചെയ്തതിന്റെ
Madam, I have a doubt.
Yes.
The morning session, I was really absent. I don't know whether you have already explained it. In that case, kindly excuse me. My doubt is, in fact, these 5 or 6 levels, they show the level of learning. Remembering is supposed to be the first level. Understanding may be the second. Application comes as the third. Analysis comes as the fourth. Evaluation the fifth. And creation or new creative elements may be the last one.
You are right.
So in that way, we may have to make the outcome. Am I right?
Yes, sir. This should be the order, because without understanding, it is not possible to create something. So this should be the order.
Okay, madam.
Your name, please, sir.
I am Fed Matthew.
Yes, okay, very good. Because your voice is continuously supporting the class. Thank you so much. ഇടയ്ക്കിടയ്ക്ക് സാർ ഇങ്ങനെ ഓരോന്ന് ചോദിക്കുന്നതുകൊണ്ട് ഒരു എന്താ പറയുന്നത്, ഒരു സന്തോഷമുണ്ട് കേട്ടോ. ഓക്കെ,
താങ്ക് യു ഫോർ ദ കോംപ്ലിമെന്റ്.
അപ്പൊ ഈ ഒരു ഓർഡർ തന്നെ പോകണം. ബിക്കോസ് ക്രിയേറ്റ് ആദ്യം വന്നിട്ട് പിന്നെ റിമെമ്പർ ആകാൻ പറ്റില്ലല്ലോ. Remember, understand, apply, analyze, and evaluate or create. And those who require the slides, that will be shared so that you can make it clear. എന്തെങ്കിലും ഇതിന്റെ റെക്കോർഡിങ്സോ അതല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഇതിന്റെ എന്താണ് സ്ലൈഡ്സ് ഒക്കെ വേണമെന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ നിങ്ങളുടെ ഗ്രൂപ്പിൽ ഷെയർ ചെയ്ത് തരും കേട്ടോ. സോ യു ഹാവ് ടു സബ്മിറ്റ് ഇറ്റ് before 9 o'clock tomorrow, and the coordinator will inform you the process of submission, and we will get the feedback in the common discussion on Friday morning.
Ma'am, I have one doubt for you.
Yes, please.
Ma'am,
yes.
One doubt, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, for each point, one question is enough, ma'am. There are 6 points. Remember, understand, apply, analyze, evaluate, and create. For each, we'll prepare one question. Is it enough, ma'am?
Actually, it is not expected that you have to prepare a question. Initially, we have to fix the outcome. So the learner will be able to, The question is not compulsory. Not compulsory.
No, when
Okay.
we submit, we have to frame the question and then we have to put the outcomes, ma'am.
No, see, actually the process is we have to measure the outcomes. So why do we frame the question? Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. In
Yeah.
the example,
Yeah, there are now
there
questions in
is
the
no
example.
need of
Yeah, no need of writing the
Only-
question. Why? Yeah, only the outcomes. So if the outcomes are there, it is very easy to prepare the question. No problem. Okay. So try to set the outcomes first. Questions are not compulsory, but if you are interested,
Okay.
of course you can do it. Okay. Those who are
Okay, ma'am.
interested,
Side by
you can
side,
frame.
both
Yeah,
way.
yeah. Yeah, the table can be prepared according to your creativity. It is open. So it is depending upon your skill of organization and creativity, you can make any sort of tables. And it's not compulsory that this table is there. You can write it in a sequential way too. That is, these things are not compulsory. So while I am presenting something in a slide, it would be easier for me. That's why I am presenting in a table format, right?
Okay, ma'am.
Otherwise, it will take
Okay, madam.
two space for preparing all these things. Thank you. So the slides and all these things will be shared in the group if required. Thank you so much.
Ma'am, one doubt, ma'am.
Yes, yes.
Ma'am, suppose we are taking a topic which we are teaching for our students. Maybe they are not reaching, or the learner is not expected to reach the level of create, maybe only till apply. So do we frame only till apply, or is it necessary to take it till create? Like we think
No,
of
no.
that.
You know, I have already mentioned that for some modules, for some subjects, it's not not expected that it comes to the create level. So what is matching for that particular module, that should be written.
Okay.
When we take some other course or some other unit, there comes the create aspect, no?
Yes.
So as a whole, all outcomes will come. So don't worry about integrating all the components in a single thing. No, don't worry about that. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else?
It's 9 p.m. No, ma'am. Tomorrow.
Tomorrow
9
9 p.m.
tomorrow, no? PM, no?
Yeah. The coordinator will inform all other directions.
Deadline for submission is 9.
Yes, I think it's 9 p.m. Anyway, the coordinator will inform all those directions regarding that. Okay. You will get it in your groups.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Ma'am, am I audible?
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, good evening all. I hope everyone enjoyed the session. It was really interesting. Ma'am has explained the 6 levels of Bloom's taxonomy with examples and activities. It was extremely useful and understanding. I express my sincere gratitude to Dr. Rosama Philip for her excellent presentation. Thank you for being with us and thank you all for your active presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.